All right. Just going to get right back into it, I guess. Oh, I can actually pick this thing up again now. Let's do that. All right. You almost want to put eyelashes on the guy, but it's like, okay, that's considering he's a lizard. Already putting eyelids on him is like a bit of a stretch. So. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Welcome back. Now we're getting a few people right off the bat here. That's cool. I must have lured them in with the alliteration. Or talking about dragons. That might do it too, I suppose. Well, we're actually still continuing what was going on the last time we saw them. I just kind of needed to take a break in between because I figured, like, it's like 5 straight pages, I think, of hanging out in the Clerg command room, which is like, largely dark. And, there's like cool shots of the Clerg and everything, but after a while, I figured I'd get monotonous, so I switched up to the gun show fight, and then the gun show fight didn't want to stop. So what was going on last time was the Clerg captain here was being informed that Popo had escaped from captivity, and he's just on the page previous. So he's kind of coming to terms with it on this one. Not very well, but Meanwhile, like, just his soldiers are dying left and right on his ship. And right in the middle of the explanation, like an explosion goes off not too far from the command center here. And we got back into cross-hatching with microns. I mean, like, we've been doing a fair bit of it, but like it's kind of been going into overdrive on this little sequence here. Hey, Adams, how's it going? So see if I can actually make this look a bit like shading and not just like random cross-hatching, which is kind of what it is right now. That doesn't look too bad, I guess. But yeah, this is essentially like the sequence where we find out Popo is actually dangerous. Or I guess the issue. There's been a bit of proof of that up until now, with him creeping around the ship. But I still need to work on more of those pages. But this is the page where we find out like he's wiped out like 5 teams worth of Clerg. Like basically anybody who's come anywhere close to his position, whatever that is, whether it's intentional or not, has been cut down. I like to think if there were like Clerg civilians on board, they would have gotten taken care of too. Yeah. Hey, Raven, how's it going, buddy? Well, no, I mean, you know, all you space muggers look the same to me, right? That kind of thing. I like to think, like, you know, if there were Kid Klurg on the ship, they would have like balloons and like short pants and shit. You know. I'm a little glad we're only going to see the Klurg for like for at least for a while, for another issue or two after this. I could use a bit of a break from them, like just to catch up on the on like my drawing speed again. Because every time I draw the Klurg, every panel is like an hour and a half of cross hatching, which, I mean, that's only a rule that I made, but I seem to be kind of sticking to it. That's always a classic. And hey, Dinosaur Dino. I do not color my books. It's in question whether or not the finished product will have color. There will definitely, at the very least, be a black and white version. Because, I mean, I'm reasonably certain that with the amount of cross-hatching I put on everything, there's a good chance that it just doesn't work in color. I mean, you know, we'll give it a shot one way or the other, but yeah, either way, you got to have the noir version as well. You know what? I couldn't actually tell you that. I haven't gotten that far. Downloading images to the printer. I could maybe help you work a scanner, but as far as I understand, they like to use TIFF files, so TIFF, a lot of the time, which are larger than JPEGs. So I'm not sure how you do that. I guess, like, you know, you compress them down to a zip folder or something. I'm not exactly up on how that shit works, to be honest. And I have not printed a book before. This is not my first issue of this that I've drawn. I've never taken it to the point where we actually do anything with it. I just keep drawing them right now. Mostly because I got no money and I have no idea how to do anything beyond drawing them, so I just keep doing the thing I know how to do. And it's only really been in the last, I don't know, little while that it's I mean, like, you know, there's started to be more than just a couple of people interested in it, I would say. Maybe, well, I guess it's October, really, when I did the Inktober thing. So not much of an excuse to not do it past that, but I'm sure I'll think of one. Give me time. Yeah, that would suck. I mean, I'd say, you know, just like pick a color for the Clerg and kind of diffuse it to let some of the cross hatching through. That would work fine. Like a flat color, you know. We don't need too much in the terms of separation. I don't know how many colors would get down on that. I mean, we like our old school methods and everything. How many colorists, though, are using like Doc Martin dyes and shit? Probably not too many. Like, not if you want to get work. Yeah, that looks all right. Cool. No, I'm not familiar. I mean, I've heard a lot of different options for printers. There seems like some. I mean, you know, they all seem to be pretty good. Like, you know, I haven't heard too many where it's just like stay the fuck away from this guy or whatever, from these guys. And that's probably the thing I should be looking out for most. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And they kind of blend together a little bit at the end there, don't they? Hey, Brain, how you doing, buddy? And my favorite band, I honestly couldn't tell. I don't listen to a ton of music anymore. I just kind of generally find a stream friendly, non copyright playlist and then go from there. Old answer would have been AC/DC. I don't remember the last time I got Jack listening to an AC/DC song though. So if I was gonna say something, I was like, like getting into right now, it'd probably have to be either Death Clock or Beast in Black. But I'm not. I haven't listened to all of their shit, either one. So it's like, you know, you, that's one of the safe things about saying AC/DC. I have listened to all of it. Even if I haven't, I've heard something that they've done that sounds exactly like it. Yeah, yeah, it sounds about right. Or lately it's whatever AI shit we've come up with on the Discord. But honestly, that's most of the stuff these days where I'm like, yeah, yeah. I've seen Dino before. I know that. I know you dropped by before. And I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot more crossovery than what Rob does and what I do, since we do basically the exact same thing. Which I'm comfortable saying because I started like 6 months earlier. Between David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, I mean, David Lee Roth. Sammy Hagar's a better singer. David Lee Roth has more charisma, and Eddie cared more when he was singing for him. Humans Being wasn't bad. I just remember, I think hearing it for the first time in Twister and being like, yeah, what is that fucking song? And not being able to know because there was no internet. But like by the time Sammy was in there, like Eddie just, I don't know, he was all into his synthesizer and he was like all about ballads. Or I don't know if that's the Sammy effect or what. Like David Lee Roth had his bad points too. All the fucking show tune sound and shit, but all the covers he wanted to do. But then you also got like some pretty awesome shit in the middle there too, where like Eddie was working something out and showing off, as opposed to I've established myself. I'm just going to do personal you know, love songs and oh god, nobody wants to hear a Van Halen love song. Do Running with the Devil Part 2 and The Cradle Will Rock, that kind of shit. Yeah, that's all right. I hate them. Blue pencils. I can never see them clearly enough. I don't know if that's a me thing or if that's the pencils I'm buying or the paper I'm using them on, but they're always unclear. I hate pretty much everything about drawing except inking. Which I love more every single time, it feels like. Hate's a little strong, but you know. The penciling is always like, okay, I guess we got to get through this. And, you know, some fun stuff gets worked out, but it's not the most fun stuff. And it's not even like, I can't even judge a finished product, you know? I mean, I could if I finished pencils, I suppose, but even then, you know, you got to go over to ink. So what's the point? Unless you're like going J.N. Salato or, you know, like doing some sort of computery stuff. Which, no, thank you. Something's not right here. So this is all the penciling I want to do for this panel, really. Get back. Okay. I have not tried pink pencils. I haven't tried any kind. Like I know, like Ryan Benjamin uses like a red pencil or something like that. And part of me is like, maybe the red pencil I can see better, and maybe I'll still be able to erase it, or it won't show up as on the in the scans, that kind of thing. But I've still got like 20 or 30 blue pencils to work through. So it never occurs to me that, yeah, no, I should check out some red pencils or pink or whatever. It's like, why would I have a thing for laying out, and then I have to lay things out? Like, oh fuck, I still got these blue things, don't I? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, I mean, like my scanner, I can drop them out easily because it has like when I scan it, it gives me an option to just like do a filter right there in the scanned version. Just pick the one where it drops out anything that could be like a trace element, like a lot of loose pencils actually, or blue. It doesn't bother with blue. Or you do it as a grayscale scan. It usually does it. How the fuck does this head work back here? Hey, Ange, how's it going? How am I drawing this thing? I got like a thing here. Got a point on the chin. Sure. Oh, the Badoon from what is that? Guardians of the Galaxy, I want to say? Like Marvel stuff? Sounds familiar. I know I've read something with it, but not for a long time. I want to say that was, I knew that from like the Korvac quest or something. Well, it's a little bit further than that. So in this case, yeah, he's just finding out about how Popo escaped, where their long-standing tradition of keeping heavy weapons in the torture chamber eventually somehow backfired, and he's like complaining that we've always done that. The prisoners respect it, and then explosion goes off, and he turns and yells at Popo for being a heretic. Yeah, this is dying on me. Is it heretic, or was it? It wouldn't be apostate. No, it would be apostate because it was never part of their faith in the beginning. They're deeply held religious belief that you keep your heavy weapons in the torture chamber. Ah, that's cool. I didn't realize you were watching from the UK. That's pretty sweet. I mean, pretty much everybody watches from North America around here, I think. I think I did submit to a couple, and I never heard back. Admittedly, that was earlier. I think that was probably when I was in the middle of drawing issue 2, which wasn't as crazy as things have gotten the last couple of issues. Well, really, this issue. It's got a. Let's see, the style's gotten quite a bit better than it was earlier. So I don't know, maybe it's getting close to time to try again if we want to do that. I feel like it might be a good idea to get a Kickstarter under my belt first, or at least get like a PDF up online. And then I don't do that. So that kind of puts the whole thing off the rails. Ange was watching. Ange2099 was watching from the UK. That'd be cool. I mean, you know, whoever wants to mention it is down with me. I don't know what that meant. I was just saying words apparently. And so far, I really don't know much of anybody in the industry. And a couple of guys who do their own indies, so that's cool. That I've kind of talked to a little bit here and there. And, you know, a couple of YouTubers who do similar things to what I do. So, I mean, yeah, that's a start. Oh, wow. Shit, I'll take that. Thank you. Why not, Lee? Fuck. I'll take his paycheck, too. I know, like, his shit is very dynamic and fun. So, yes, I'll take that all day. Why are we talking about Ronnie Coleman? Or is it just the muscles? I got flex pages that might be more appropriate for Ronnie Coleman. Let's just do a mic run here. Oop. Or is it just the gigantic lats? That could be it, I suppose. Oh, I missed it. Two. There we go. How this issue will end? Yes. Well, actually, how this storyline will end? Yes, definitely. So this is issue 4. I'm expecting the storyline to go to, I mean, at this point, probably issue 6. I keep kind of flip-flopping between 5 and 6. And I know the basics of how it's going to go. Feels like a shoulder just completely collapsed down on his face there. I guess that's what happens when you got spikes in your neck there and you're on your chin. You just keep stabbing your shoulder and just keep shrinking to drag. And then after that, I mean, I have ideas for storylines I'd like to go in, and I do have an idea about how to eventually finish the series, assuming that that can ever happen, which is a big assumption. I know. It's, again, heresy, right? I personally have no real problem with continuity as a concept. I just refuse to take part. Continuity isn't so much a law as a guideline, you know? Like, sure, if you can make a guy look similar to how he looked on the last page, why not do that? But, like, you know, if you forget, it's kind of funny. And maybe you could just keep going with it. Well, kayfabe aside, I do have to say I believe in story as a requirement of comics. Unless you have something so fucking good, story doesn't matter. And by which I mean incredible art. And I mean, like, you got to have like undeniably good art, which very few comics have. Oh yes, Brigade had such a story. It was riveting. So many twists and turns, and or turns, if you will. Try and do this without turning the page too much. Once I get the page set. Here, hang on. There we go. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they dig on the that YA crowd now, right? I don't know if it's DC specifically, or I get the impression they both do that to some degree. I couldn't tell you, man. I haven't bought new comics in I don't even know how long. Everything I buy is essentially a back issue. Because there's so many good back issues I haven't read, or at least like interesting ones. It's like, why would I ever buy a new one? They all look kind of shitty. And even the ones that don't, I mean, like, it's like, hey, this looks like a pretty good comic, and then it's like $8 or whatever the fuck it is these days. Not to mention, I gotta probably ship it to me because I'm in fucking Canada. I'm better off buying in bulk. Get a bunch of shit like old back issues. That is one thing I feel like I'm like not living up to my end of the bargain a little bit sometimes. It's like people want to talk about how like modern comics are, and it's like, yeah, I hear they're very bad. I wouldn't pay for one to find out, though. Yeah. Hey, Wolfie, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Ah, yes, I did hear about the Silvestri Batman thing, which does sound interesting. It also sounds like Silvestri wrote most of it, right? Or all of it, or some of it, or something. And I don't trust Mark Silvestri to write fucking shit. So I don't know. I'm thinking if Mark Silvestri could have written, like, maybe he could have not had his brother fuck up Cyberforce. That would have been all right. It has been a long time. Maybe it's something he's picked up since. And hey, Driss, how's it going? Oh, for sure. No, any of those apart from Savage Dragon, really. Trying to think if there was anybody else. Really, all those early Image ones were just how do we get our fans over here? Like, Rob is always coming up with, at the very least, character names that may or may not be okay. And like some kind of vague concept. So he just, picked one of the ones he had ready to go, I'm sure. Eric Larson, of course, had Dragon, and he's like, oh my God, I finally get to draw this for a living. I'm pretty sure Todd did basically the same thing that Rob did, and just like picked up like an old character design that he had. He's like, yeah, sure, why not? I can turn this into a weird platform for talking about serial killers and living homeless on the street or something. And that left like Silvestri and Jim and, well, other Jim, to just kind of try and come up with something. And I think, Jim Valentino went, I'm going to come up with the edgiest thing I can possibly think of. And unfortunately, I can't draw cool enough to maybe, sell it. But hey, we'll make some money in the meantime. And Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri were like, fuck, I don't know, different X-Men. There's one way we can ensure that we get our old readers to come over. It's by still drawing the X-Men, but not them being the X-Men. And thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be doing some more Shadowhawk eventually. I'm planning on doing Shadowhawk 3 at some point. I still can't believe I got all the way through Shadowhawk 2. That was when I was starting to think, like, maybe I don't need to be quite so thorough in covering every single one of these. Because, like, nobody cares about Shadowhawk 3, number 3. Or Shadowhawk 2, number 3, I suppose. And it's like, I'm really just doing it for me. And, like, I don't give a shit about Shadowhawk. So, like, it's just for, like, completionist's sake. I'll at the very least look at Shadowhawk 3, number 1. I don't know that I'm going to be doing all of them. I kind of doubt it. Doesn't he start getting like Tony Daniel or something to draw that at some point? It'll be fine. It'll be one day, one video. You know. Oh, I kind of drew over the shit I was drawing earlier, didn't I? Fuck. Oh no, there it is. I don't think that the third eye is really visible from this angle anyway, so maybe it doesn't even matter. All right. How are we doing this? Not sure when I decided these guys needed to be completely cross-hatched. It was sometime, I think it was this page actually. And now I'm having regrets because it's like this. They're gonna like be a bit mushy with all the gray. Oh well. This is the one page where the clerk. I don't know. The lights just flickered for a second on this page and got a little darker. Yeah, that's got a lot of good guys. I'm honestly not even too sure who my influences are for the most part in terms of like who I took stuff from. There is Jim Lee to some extent. Alex Ross too, actually, because there was a while there where I was trying to get like some pretty good, like pretty realistic shadows going on. Like that was in '90. I guess it was '94 or maybe '96 actually when Marvel's dropped. You know, that was such a huge deal. It's like, fuck, I got to learn how to draw realistic now. That's so cool. So yeah, that was when I decided to start working on shadows. Dave Sim, of course, for lettering and page construction and goofy faces. There are a couple of ticks I have that are from Steve Dillon. I remember realizing that and being like, what? When was I into Steve Dillon? It's like, well, did read a lot of Preacher for a while there. And more recently, Stephen Platt, I'd say. Just the good issues, though, of course. Has the later issues of Prophets Volume 2 and the Soul Saga stuff. He started to take a lot of the edge off. No, we need more edge. If there's one thing we don't have enough of in comics anymore, it's edge. Too, perfect. And there was a while there where I was reading a lot of J.G. Jones stuff, and I was like, oh, so I just need to draw the most realistic. Okay, gotcha. Frank Quitely, too. Oh, all the detail. Right. Then I think I saw the thing where Frank Quitely does all his artwork on a tablet, like a big fucking tablet, and realize he's probably importing most of his backgrounds and then tracing over them. It's like, oh, that's okay. That's not as impressive now. I think that's what most people probably do, but I was like, how does he get all the perspective so exact and so imaginative with his background? It's like, well, yeah, because it's a real background. Took me a little while to catch on. Oh fuck, are you still going there? All the Cuberts? Andy included? All right. No judgment. Carlos Pacheco. I'm saying it wrong, aren't I? Pacheco. I think that's closer. Alan Davis, basically the same as Brian Hitch. Yep, those are a lot of guys. Like when I think of influences, I think guys I've tried to copy something directly, or like I elaborated off of something I saw of theirs. I couldn't do it with that many artists myself. I would just lose track. Like 3 or 4 is about as good as I can do. And honestly, never really looked at any David Finch before, like, I don't even know, maybe a year ago. I'm like, oh, he is rather good, isn't he? Yeah. Wait, what are you saying, Brain? It's like I've been meaning to say this for months. And I know, like, yeah, the pros in particular tend to be tough to listen to. I mean, nobody wants to say anything bad about a peer, for one thing, which is, I understand that, and I wouldn't either from a peer. Thankfully, I don't have too many peers who draw comics. But they, just kind of in a soothing tone, talking about technical aspects or even beginner aspects. It's like, okay, I don't give a shit about that, but all right, just make the lines. Let me see how you make the lines. Very nice. Okay. One of the reasons I thought this particular thing would just be like a terrible idea. Me doing a live stream. It's like there's no way I can fucking talk for hours at a time while trying to draw. That's just not going to happen. There you go. It's all about the volume, is what it is. If we can just like piss off, who does drawing stuff? I mean, I know Finch does. You're never gonna piss off Jim Lee, so there's no point in even trying, unless you hurt his profit margin. And I mean, let's face it, that's just not gonna happen. Like his personal profit margin, he doesn't give a shit about DCs. I don't think. Other than that, a bad profit margin makes him look bad. That's about it. What the fuck else am I drawing on here? That'd be something, right? Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've seen a few of the Jim Lee streams, and like they're interesting for a little while, and then yeah, you realize he's not really doing a whole lot of drawing. He's talking a lot about how drawn is, how he draws. It's like, dude, I just kind of want to see you draw at the same time. If you could do that, that'd be great. How's that looking? Kind of cool. All right. Yeah, that's all right. They have like full on, yeah, they do have like caps on their knuckles, I think. Are you kidding me? I think Jim can match me any day he wants. Isn't his usual technique like blue line, pencil, erase the whole, like blue line the whole thing, pencil the whole thing, erase the whole thing, pencil it again, maybe erase it all again? And then the impressions that all the pencil leaves on the page is what he goes off of as like a layout. That strikes me as insanity. Like, I'm all for just sitting on a page and noodling all day. That's fine. For the love of God, if you're just redoing your work over and over again, like you're not accomplishing that much, are you? And I mean, when it comes to drawing, he kind of doesn't, right? In that he doesn't, he's not prolific. I remember being quick on these pages. What happened? Like, there were a few pages that I got done in like 4 hours and got started on the next one. Now it's like 8, 10 every time. Too many veins and cross-hatching bits and all that. It could be, or just like it kind of redefining what I want to do with the comic. It feels like it's like less and less about trying to reproduce an image effort, which is kind of how it started out, because I figured that would be fun and silly. Now it's about trying to one up them. I don't mean like trying to one up Richard Horry or Merritt Michaels. That's not exactly difficult. Although I think Richard Horry actually did get okay eventually. Merritt Michaels never did. You'll all be happy to hear. Well, I mean, you know. Oh, he doesn't. Okay, so he. This is more like a sleeve. This metal thing. Okay, important to know. Like if we're talking about like a 92, 93 Image Founder comic, first of all you need is like millions of dollars to pour into colorists and a 4 to 5 month lead up period to come up with your first issue. And then, you know, you don't necessarily need a great concept. And then, so you draw your first issue, maybe something happens, maybe it doesn't. You collect your millions of dollars from the sales of your first issue, and then you go and party for 6 months. And then you go, oh, fuck, we should put out an issue too, and see if we can keep this going. Notice at no point do I say we should sit down and work out what the point of this is, what the plot is. You just draw pages, and everything will work out. I keep seeing Adam Polina every once in a while. I remember there was. Is that the guy? Maybe it is. Because me and my friends did a couple of conventions as independent artists, I suppose, self-published. You know, like we did mini comics in like 96, 97, around there. And we managed to get a table at a con once, and we got in on like an indie signing another time, which was sweet. And I think the con Adam Polina was at, and I had no idea who he was. I do recall looking at his pencils and thinking, well, I'm just never going to be a Marvel artist. Okay, good to know. Because like there's way too much detail. Everything's way too smooth. You know. Like too stylish. I mean, Adam Polina's stuff is very nice. By no means do I think he's like, you know, I would never have thought of him as one of the best guys or anything. You know, like it is good stuff. But yeah, just seeing his pencils is like, fuck yeah, nope, not gonna happen, I guess. And I mean, you can see the state of my pencils here. I still don't bother. I think some Simonson lines here would be a good idea. Ah. Sure. I don't think that works particularly well, but that's okay. Kind of a tough angle for that kind of thing. Yeah, that's a bit of a goofy looking arm. That's all right. If you're wondering why I keep saying that's all right, it's because I keep having to tell myself instead of trying to fix it. It's not you I'm trying to convince, it's me. So you're aware, when I get really harsh on a comic that I'm going over in a video, and if you're thinking to yourself, okay, but like your stuff isn't that great either, do you hold yourself to the same kind of standards? Like, yes, I do, and I'm usually kind of disappointed. All right, appreciate it. Okay. Robert Todd would somehow manage to monetize it for $300,000. So I shouldn't do that. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Brent. What does this goof look? Don't forget the plate here. Hey, I mean, Todd's stuff could look dynamic a lot of the time if he was interested. I don't think that happened very much after like issue 4. Well, like doing Spider-Man, doing the Hulk, and he made some cool looking shit. It is a little crazy when you think how just how quickly he got out of drawing. It's just like, okay, I don't want nothing to do with this no more. It's like, wow. So you like all those years where you were coming up with like awesome looking shit, you didn't give a fuck, did you? I mean, like, it's impressive, really, because like he sure seemed invested. like maybe he just wanted to draw Spider-Man and that was it. Who knows? Everything else is like, even my guy, I don't give much of a shit. Yeah. Well, with a lot of them, I think a big part, like Rob, for instance, I think a big part was he was running for a long time on just being stoked that he was working in comics. I don't think he gave much of a shit about what he drew. Jim Lee on his best stuff, I mean, he was building his name. And on his best stuff, he had help from Wills and Scott Williams. Mark Silvestri surprises me sometimes, although I think he just, I think maybe he was, I don't think he was ever a huge comic guy. You hear the interviews about when he first broke into the business, and he's like, yeah, like it seemed like, like I tried like moving furniture one day, and then I went, fuck this, I'm gonna go like do an easy job, like working comics. So it almost feels like he, it was more like that was something he was good at already, and just like, oh well, I could always do this instead. It's kind of like Todd, really, where he didn't want to be a comic artist; he wanted to be a baseball player, and then he fucked up his foot. So he's like, all right, I better use my plan B, which is be one of the most successful comic artists of all time, apparently. Oh yeah, you know, and then I think the big irony is that when they do start up their own companies, they act exactly like Marvel and DC did. I'm not sure what the bottom half of this outfit looks like. I guess it's pants, shorts, like leg something. Do the Clerk all wear yoga pants? I'm not for sure. They might. They seem the type, right? And then like, there's people who get into comics and it's like the most important thing in the world to them, right? And I think as comic fans, that's what we want and what we expect, because like we would totally be like that, right? I don't think that's how a lot of guys are. A lot of guys, it's like, this is my marketable skill, and I'm going to see if I can parlay this into Hollywood somehow. It'll have to be like the next crew. I've kind of established something resembling a uniform for this particular ship, at least. Maybe that's how it is, where each ship decides on its own theme in terms of fashion. Because they're a colonial type expansionist race, and a lot of their ships are basically appropriated from worlds they've conquered. So I got to think like a level of, I don't know, like identity kind of rises from that among the different clerg ships, where like that influences how the crew interact and all that. I think that'd be fun. Like this one is roughly like a little bit like a Klingon ship, I suppose. Just a bit more orderly, less piratey. So maybe not that much like a Klingon ship at all. I'm thinking about it. Pirate is like the main thing about a Klingon ship. Okay. I'm going to grab a quick smoke. Do I have a space to put this? Boop. What is the unit of measurement this time, Brain? I'll let you decide. Okay. Be back shortly. Furlongs to 4. Okay, I'll take that. Just as a point of inquiry, are we talking Ed Furlongs? All right. And you're not wrong about measuring in terms of smokes at the moment. This whole stream has just been kind of like looking over at the clock every once in a while, being like, has it been long enough? Has it been long enough? Has it been long enough? Get close to 2 hours. Okay, that's long enough. That'll be one of my last packs, though, I think. If not the last. We'll see. But I cannot keep this up. This keeps fucking with my money. Oh, that should be a bit more lit up, actually. This thing's running out. I assume I've got a replacement of these, but I'm not for sure. At least they're cheap. If I want to set, I need to order another one. That doesn't quite work. It's more like every pack of smokes is one less eighth of a bill that will not lead to getting my shit shut off. No, already. What? Does that sound like me at all? Like I wouldn't completely and fully develop the Clerg lore before even starting issue 1? Come on, man. I'm surprised or something. I don't think I'm pretty sure I came up with the original concept and went like, cool. I don't know if I've even thought about it since. Oh, yeah, there's definitely a Silmarillion somewhere of Clerg lore. I think I might have even pronounced that correctly. Hey, Edie, how's it going? So do we want to come up with more words that I may or may not be able to pronounce correctly? We know I can't do Carlos Pacheco. This doesn't make any sense, this lighting, but sure. Oh, is that what that is? Perhaps, perhaps not, I suppose. I'm not familiar enough with bot culture to comment. Oh, that's cool. Friendly people are always welcome. What the fuck am I even drawing here? Man, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. You a little bit. I assume Edie. And not Eddie. Although these days, who knows? And yes, I'm old enough to be fucking saying these days way too often. We're having a buddy who named his daughter Johnny. Kind of like Johnny Future, I suppose. Really, I think spelled the same too. And I gave him shit for it for the next little while. Every time I saw him, it's like, "Hey, how's little Jimmy doing?" Well, I mean, drawing this comic, It's been about 2 years so far. 2.5, I guess, really. I think that's really the only thing that can be measured is this particular one, because everything before that was kind of messing around and trying stuff and not getting particularly far. This is the first thing I've ever done that went past. Well, I did do a mini comic that went to almost 4 issues. So that's a landmark we're actually gonna pass soon, really. I remember thinking for a while, it's like, man, if I get to 4 issues, that'd be amazing. That's so much further than I've ever done. And now it's just like, well, yeah, obviously that's gonna happen now. So now the new goal is, okay, we get past this first story arc, which does feel like a big deal at least. How does that look compared to like this up here? Like, okay. I guess this is, I mean, by the time this gets put on the page, it's going to be kind of shrunken down. It won't necessarily have to be the coolest looking clerk. Well, I think that's kind of a sure thing at this point, growing and improving. There's been a large difference between all of the different issues so far. And really about, like, sometimes it doesn't even take a full issue, like halfway through this one. Maybe like the last 10 pages have, it feels like they've changed dramatically. Ever since that page 7 one I just put the commentary up for. I think part of it was that I also started doing more Platt comics, Stephen Platt, on the for the revisits, because we were doing Extreme Prejudice and all that stuff, and just kind of all coalesced. That's not how you pronounce that. Coalesced. So trying to apply an impossible, not work ethic exactly, because I wouldn't call it that, but just number of lines on each page. Is there any indication on what this map thing looks like on a previous page? Let me just take a quick look. Oh, there's like spikes around it, too. There's no spikes. Oh. Continuity errors. Well, we can do like a. Oh, I was just about to reach for that Pentel. Never again. And then we'll just crosshatch this into oblivion. Oh, shoot, that's too much. So everybody get back to drawing? Is that what happened? Or did I didn't do like a missed the chat thing again, did I? I don't think I did. No. Well, Edie keeps commenting. No formal training. A lot of messing around up until I was like 25 or so, and then kind of gave it up for 10 years. I guess it was closer to 30, really. And decided I wasn't getting, because I figured if I was 30 and not in comics yet, I wasn't going to get there. And then like 5 years ago, I got back into it and discovered I had somehow gotten better by just watching a whole bunch of videos and reading a bunch of books, still reading the books about how to improve as ours, but not really putting a lot of it into practice. And a lot of stuff just kind of fell together when I got back into it, which is nice. But no formal training does mean there are like large gaps in my knowledge that like sometimes I'm aware of, sometimes I'm not. I'm actually not reading a ton of comics in between like 2002, really like 2001. I was having difficulty finding stuff to even read in 2002. And now I don't know a ton about what's been going on either in there. So a lot of this is from the perspective of a guy who kind of knows comics and kind of knows how to draw. I was not doing one other non-comic art. I had kids. And like not being in comics and like just trying to get by. And getting frustrated and not having time to do drawing, and just figured the hell with it. Liefeld had put me under his wing back then, like I'm trying to think of when would even work. I was never into Liefeld, so I don't even know how much I would have gone for that. Well, like, I'm trying to think of when my stuff even would have been like okay to publish, like merit level okay. I think probably by the time I was like 20 or so, maybe. Even then, I gotta wonder. And when I was 20, it was 1998, 99, around there. And what was Liefeld doing in 98, 99? He was already past Heroes Were Born. Ugh. Was he doing like rejects and that kind of crap? I think so. Another Youngblood relaunch. I think that's pretty much all he had to offer at that point, wasn't it? And I jumping back and forth. It did actually feel pretty great. Like, I don't know, like starting drawing again was fun because you always doodle at least, but that was really the extent of what I've been doing. But yeah, so I mean, like, starting out drawing again felt good, but like at that point, it was just the same stuff I'd been drawing, like just like doodly stuff, and then started pushing it and found that I could keep up, and that was the stuff I was like, oh really? Well, how far can we push it? And turned out like pretty far, really. That's been the stuff that's the most fun is just kind of seeing where I can push this thing next. See if there's something I can add to it. See if I can figure something new out, So that's been fun. Well, like that was the thing that getting back to what OK was saying. That's the thing that always bugged me was that I got in at like exactly the wrong time to become a comic artist. Because by the time I would have even been like 20, is when comics had already just completely gone in the sewer. And we were a ways away from like Civil War building stuff back up again. And even it hasn't built back very far. Not only that, thinking about like, if I had somehow managed to get published by somebody, my stuff would have gone in more of a realistic direction, I think, not in where it's gone now at all. Like early 2022 when I started doing this, I still thought it was a better idea to push in a realistic direction. And my brother and I were joking about doing Image comics, and he did his version of an Image character. I'm like, no, this is how you do an Image character. And it wasn't quite right, but it was fun. Like more fun than drawing realistic for damn sure. So you keep pushing in that direction. It's like, okay, how far can I push in this direction? And it's like you can push as far as you want. You can make it absolutely insane. And it's like, well, how insane? And that's kind of where we're at now. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, I don't know how much Joe Mather's been, but like, that like a plat definitely. But yeah, no, like Hitch, J.G. Jones, like Frank Whiteley, going for like an idiosyncratic, realistic, detailed style. I think that would have been where it would have gone. I don't think I would have been particularly successful. Like, okay, I don't know that I would have been a regular guy. I think I might have crapped out, to be honest. I don't know if I would have had the trying to think of the word perseverance to stick with it long enough to get good. The thing is that this has been really fun, so I'm willing to keep coming back to it. And like, you know, like me sticking with a project for longer than a month or two is kind of rare. Like 2 years is unheard of. But sticking with it has been what's gotten me to a point where I'm really starting to come up with some like fun shit to put in here. Like that's, you know, I've said it before on the videos. The biggest thing about becoming a better artist is just draw all the goddamn time. Like if you can do, you know, do a book. Doesn't not even matter that much what it's about, although it'd be good if it's something that you know, enjoy drawing. That guy's head's too big for where he is. So, you know, if you're pumping out page after page after page, you're figuring stuff out, and you know, like, which is what everybody always says. And then you do it, and it's like, oh fuck, shit. All right, was not expecting that. I didn't think you meant let's find new ways to have fun on the page. I thought you meant like your perspective gets better. You know, your composition gets. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm sure it does, but that's boring. The whale DNA is kind of true. Yeah, they all look a little weird. Like I said, like an idiosyncratic realistic style, where it's the realism is more in just like how what's the word? I'm running out of words. Consistent they are from panel to panel. Like it looks like it occupies 3D space, even if they don't exactly look like humans. Yeah, no, I'm kind of. I think a lot of people are the same. Well, a lot of people who like actual comics instead of just like kids who grew up on webtoons or whatever. Or, you know, people who are into manga, because I mean, like, manga is huge online, I believe. I think we had it in that discussion last time. That's all right. But yeah, I mean, like, I'll read online if that's the easiest way to get a thing, like significantly easier than finding a physical copy, which a lot of time it is. But I'd much rather find an actual issue. I find that I have a lot of difficulty paying attention if it's an online drawing comic. I just start skimming through it. Because it's, you know, it's pretty easy to just go, okay, I pretty much get it. Click, 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 you know. Where does something happen? Okay. Do I need to go back? No? All right. This is good enough then. No, I know, and it's a drag. But, you know, there's still those of us who prefer um, being unevolved. So as long as we exist, hopefully we can drag the rest of humanity down. And I mean, he's been keeping the drool in check for the most part. He's the captain. He has to set an example. But he's this is him losing his cool for a moment. It's tough being an alien dragon creature sometimes, you know? But like, I figured the drool is like, it's not exactly accepted, but it's more like, you know, it's understood that this happens, but it's like, come on, you could have taken this into the other room if you had to, you know? Like, we got somebody at work who does like the worst coughing, just like every time. And it's like nobody says anything. And I'm pretty sure we're all thinking, can you not go in the other room? That's how the clerk are with drool. It's like, dude, like, okay, do you have like a medical condition? Okay, then I guess we can't say anything. Oh God. Well, that's why all the grates everywhere, right? Oh my God, it's all coming together. As for color in the comic, the idea is, well, I mean, eventually doing a Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something like that and making color like a stretch goal. And if we reach it, cool, we'll give it a shot. If we don't, we'll publish in black and white. Either way, there will be a black and white version because I think color may not hold up with all of the cross hatching I'm doing. We'll have to see. If we can, I'd like to get some flat early 90s color going on this. By the way, I'm really stoked that that great thing came together. That's amazing. I was just looking for a Klingon vibe, like I said. I was like, no, the drool, it all makes sense. I got a few ideas I want to get to for where the story goes, which I think I've mentioned before, but now I'm talking to fill space. So let's go over them again. So there is going to have to be the bit, because we keep mentioning in this particular arc the, what's it called? Oh, the Spasm data cache, because Spasm is the tech division of Blood Force. And that has to lead to something eventually. I mean, part of it is it leads to them tracking down, well, determining for sure that the UN delegate from issue 3 is in fact a Clerg plant, because it was so difficult to tell, right? Clerg moles, very sneaky. So we're gonna see if we can extend that in the next arc with Shock Block going to find his old master. Expectoration is, yeah, it's very good. But yeah, no, Shock Block has to go back and find his old master, because we've barely seen any of Shock Block in this series. And of course, his master lives in the Himalayas. So Shock Block has to go out there in a tattered rag that he keeps just around his shoulders, and he has to get jumped by ninjas. Another one there, and then another thing there. Sure. And one of those there. And it will kind of flip back and forth between Shock Block in the Himalayas and Blood Force dealing with some kind of threat. Like a fairly generic fight kind of threat, I think. Unless I come up with something better, which I might. It's possible. I'm not counting on it, though. The interesting thing is that the plot format, no, I'm taking this much care with this, it's not necessary, was all done when the priority was much more about parodying Image Comics. And that's a bit less so now, but I'm not very good at writing, so it's like, okay, well, I might as well use this. It's actually not a terrible, like just making fun of all sorts of tropes, or using all sorts of tropes even. We got to do this kind of storyline. We got to do this kind of storyline. It's like, okay, why not? I don't have better ideas. So there's the Batman Begins for Shock Block. We're going to find out about Hard's past, which is essentially a Weapon X style program for giant testosterone steroid guys. Multiple, of course. That's the thing. If you're going to have a Weapon X style program, you got to have a bunch of them at the same time, theoretically, right? I considered doing a bit with Fireburn where somebody steals his Fireburn suit technology and he has to and improves it. Horrors upon horrors. I appreciate the offer. I don't know if I can use Black Fu. I think I'm as like the whitest guy in most rooms. I think that's a little bit beyond me. So we're gonna do evil duplicates because the big deal, of course, that the Clerg are after from Maxtremus and the Maxtretians, which I still haven't fixed. Like I haven't come up with a better name for them, so that's kind of just what they are. From the planet Maxstream. But yeah, the thing they're after is their transveyor technology, which is a teleporter. So if you're using a teleporter, you can do like every Star Trek teleporter mishap gag that you want. So like evil duplicates, like accidentally teleporting like 10 years in the future. All that good stuff. All right, Edie, thanks for stopping by. Okay, it's a big panel, Brain, you know? I just completely parodied what you said there, didn't I? All right. It's gonna be my go-to for people when they take off. I gotta go back to giving this guy some drool to just keep it as like an identifier for him. But we got to have Blood Force get disavowed at some point as well, for good reason that I will not go into at this point. Some things we got to keep as spoiler free. And I think I mentioned at some point I would like there to be Dracula in this comic. Like not just vampires, full on Dracula. No idea what he'll look like. When I first thought, it was like, I'm going to fit Dracula in this fucking book. It was still more of an Image parody, so it's like, oh man, he's going to have like purple spike armor and long white hair and, you know, like a shrunken face or something. And he'll have to correct people. That's not actually Dracula. It's, you know, whatever. Something different than what has been done before. Dracola. Something like that. Because eventually the team, of course, gets. I feel I'm sure I've gone over this before. That's okay. Eventually, the team gets so unwieldy that it gets split up into Blood Force Red and Blood Force Dark Red, which I still love. And Blood Force Dark Red does covert stuff, which eventually turns into like supernatural stuff. while Blood Force Red handles the public side of things, right? Dracul, exactly. Dr. Acula. And then later on down the line, I want there to be a big old threat that everybody has to get involved in. Like, you know, we got to call everybody who's ever guest starred in this book, whether as a hero or a villain or whatever, to battle this threat. And at one point, they have to go and ask Dracula for help. And Dracula's like, humanity cries out for a hero. And Dracula answers the call. And that's all I have basically on that particular. You know, you always just come up with like little moments. It's like, oh man, this thing would be so cool. I have to come up with a framework for this now, though. Oh, multiple Draculas. Oh, now that's something to think about too. You don't have to write shit, buddy. I'm saying I'm probably going to have to write something for Blood Force eventually again. Although not if I keep taking 3 weeks to finish a, well, it wouldn't be 3 weeks. It was like 3 episodes. So a week and a half to finish a page, which is going to be what happens here. Ooh, that didn't look too great. Well, I guess it won't be a full episode, like a whole stream just on this panel next time. This one looks like it should be pretty fun and reasonably fast to do. Dracula Man is a thing, I take it, eh? What? I did these two in like under 3 hours. I'm pretty sure I could. Like, there's figures in this one. Oh, there's a pretty big figure there too. Oof. Okay. Well, eventually we're going to be past this screen, this clerk scene, and the pages can go back to being just like 6 hours to finish. Let's put it right in there, too, didn't I? I feel like this guy's just kind of looking on, like, yes, let the drool flow through you. It's like, this was the captain I signed on for, the one who cannot control how much saliva flows from his mouth. This reserve captain I've been seeing up until now, he has no place on this ship. And we'll do a little bit of. And yes, I absolutely did put my hand in the whiteout. All right, I think we're just about ready to wrap it up here. I think that's okay. Like there'll be dialogue here, probably maybe even here. That'll take up a lot of the space where I don't want to draw. So I think I'm going to call that a wrap. Still got a few people left. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, shit. I keep catching little bits and pieces that I forgot to render here and there, like this guy's actual arm. Just a little bit. Doesn't mean a lot, but. All right. I'm a bounce and get food and probably more smokes whilst I can. Was it an hour and a half? I guess it probably was. Yeah. Yeah, this was probably less than an hour. Maybe around an hour. That's a lot of fucking ink. Still not a 4-hour panel. I'm glad you like it. This is definitely I think the best Clerg page so far between this shot here. Like this is kind of standard. But, you know, this one's pretty good. I like the expression I got on him here. And this, yeah, like a big old friggin' close-up with some, that's got some texture to it. No, for me, it's a ton of ink. Like a ton of cross-hatching. Like, there's pages in Sin City, That Yellow Bastard, where it's just a big old page of ink with a little box in the middle that says, no, I recall that. I'm not going for that on this one, you know. Anyway. Next one, maybe. We'll see. So I'll see you guys in the Discord. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, whatever you got left of it. And see you on Sunday, of course. Have a good one.